is the Real Estate and Money Show. This will be the last one for the year of 2024. Tonight, we're going to talk about how you will never pay income tax again. That is correct. We do not ever want to pay income tax again in Canada, and we don't ever want to pay corporate income tax again in the United States of America. So let's talk about how to not do those two things. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for having watched this show every single Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be making some changes in 2024, so we may or may not be continuing the show on Thursdays, but absolutely Tuesday nights are never going to end. Those are our highest traffic nights. I'll let all of you decide. If you want the show to continue on Thursdays, you do indeed need to let me know. So we'll dive right into it. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. I am a tax expert in Canada, but I'm also learning quite rapidly, I might add, how to do taxes in the United States of America. So everybody, a couple of key points I would like to bring up. Let's start with Canada first. The Canada Revenue Agency is a collection agency which operates at arm's length from the Canadian government, which means it gets complete and total federal funding to be a criminal enterprise, pestering people for money on a daily or even minutely basis. But they're only at arm's length, which means that whenever they get a mandate to go and steal money from Canadians, from the federal government, they can always say, well, you know, like we were told what to do, but then the federal government that's in power can say, well, wait a minute, they're a separate agency. We don't tell them what to do. They operate on their own. So which is it? Do they do what they're told? Do they not do what they're told? Well, you're counting on politicians to tell the truth, which we all know is never going to happen, especially not a guy like Justin Trudeau and all of his merry band of left-wing maniacs. So Canada Revenue Agency operates in a fashion where they can lie and say that they're not really affiliated with the federal government, but all of their funding comes from the federal government and or what they can steal in taxes from you. To repeat everything I've said for all of this year on my show, the Canada Revenue Agency is not a police force. They do not have investigators that look into your life. They do not have powers of arrest nor detention. They do not have jails they can take you to. They do not work with police departments to bring you down if you don't pay your taxes. You cannot do jail time for owing taxes. You cannot do any prison time at all for making mistakes on your taxes. If, for example, you choose just to not pay them in general ever again, you cannot do jail time for not doing your taxes. The only obligation the Canadians have in reference to anything with the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency, is that you must do a tax return. But in Canada, it's simple. Your name and social insurance number at the top, your signature at the bottom, no numbers, not even a zero, submit it. There you go, CRA, leave me alone. Now, they will assess you. They will guess what the tax dollar amount is that they want from you. They will do that, but that is not a command to pay. It is not a lawful order. It is not a lawful instruction. There is no contract there. You don't have to pay what they assess. But what we always will do, and I apologize for the fire alarms here, what they will always do, or what we will always do, is immediately object and demand an appeal date. So you are allowed to appeal your taxes in Canada the second that you get an assessment that says that you owe tax dollars, because you don't owe tax dollars. Assessments in Canadian law are guesses. They wildly guess. So how is it that, you might ask, that they make the decision to lock your bank account? So what they'll do is the CRA's got a procedure they have to follow. Now, I don't know if the IRS follows the same procedure, but here's how it is in Canada. They will send you a letter threatening you, saying that we want you to pay your taxes, do your taxes, remit your taxes, do something with taxes. And you'll probably ignore the letter. So they make 3 phone calls. You'll probably hang up the phone on them because they're scumbags, and most of them don't speak English anyway. And then they'll send you another threatening letter, which you're probably going to ignore. So at that point, they want to get your attention, and they will take money out of your bank account. But it's not the Canada Revenue Agency that takes the money out of your bank account. It is them sending a letter to the banks. The CRA sends a letter to your bank. It's called a requirement to pay letter. It is not a lawful command. It is simply a request, and the banks always cave in and pay them. Right. So it's the bank that you have to sue. It is the bank manager that you must charge criminally, everybody. You want to make sure that you're going after the banks. We need 1 million Canadians to join forces with me for 2025 and start filing criminal charges against the banks. And then finally, the banks, when they get fed up with that, will stop obeying the Canada Revenue Agency, who never acts on court orders. They never get court orders to get your money, ever. The banks voluntarily give the money to them. So how do we charge? That's a good question. How do we file charges against the Canada Revenue Agency? It's called laying a private information. That is what we do. We lay a private information. Information is actually a noun in law in Canada. So an information is a criminal charge report in some particular way. That is what it is. So we would go to the courthouse and we will have our private information form filled out, stating the name of the CRA representative, the phone number and the fax number, and the work address of that particular CRA representative, and the criminal charges that we want to lay. Intimidation, section 423, that's 5 years in jail. Extortion can be up to 14. Criminal harassment, uttering threats, all of these charges. We can do all these things against the CRA, and it'd be fraud and theft against the bank. And then the actual lawsuit you would file against the bank would be breach of contract, probably even tort theft. So, Canada, join me in this. If your bank has taken your money without your permission and without a court order from the CRA, let's start filing criminal charges. In February, I'm going to be giving free lessons on how to file criminal charges against bank managers and CRA representatives. We need to go to war with all of these dirtbags, and they are filth and they are grime. The second that someone says, I'm entitled to your money, and they take it, they're a criminal. And quite frankly, they should be locked up. And I would like to start helping bank managers lose their jobs and start wearing handcuffs. Collectively, we need to make sure that we all do this as a society. But the biggest problem that I face as Canada's #1 tax expert is everybody thinks that they're going to go to jail if they argue with the CRA, if I give the CRA a difficult time, if I stop paying taxes and move taxes into offshore ventures, or if I move money from one corporation to another, I'm going to go to jail. Oh my God. That is what I hear. It's infuriating to be 53 years of age and be talking to other people my age who have never once done any research into the way the law really works and fear some boogeyman that doesn't even exist. We always tell our children, there's no monsters under your bed. There's no monsters in the closet. You don't need to pull the wool sheets over top of your head to protect yourself from monsters. There are no monsters. Yet all of you believe that the CRA is some monster hiding in your closet. And they're going to spring out at a moment's notice, rip off your covers, and take your money and take your house. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. So I do educate people, and I'm going to restate what I just said. The CRA does not take the money out of your bank. They tell the bank to give it to them, and the bank voluntarily gives it to the CRA. How do we get it back? Well, we have to appeal it. We got to file a lawsuit against the bank, and then we just redo your taxes. That's what I do. I immediately begin redoing your taxes. I'm going to go through every shred of paperwork that you have, and we're going to get your tax balance to zero, which means all the money they took from your bank, they got to give it back. And the second that they give it back, that is directly an admission on their part that they were not entitled to that money. Now you can charge them and sue them too. So why are we all afraid of these useless third world demons working in the CRA, 30,000 diversity hires from god-awful countries that you've never even heard of in Africa and the Middle East. They don't speak English. And that is a deliberate thing that the Canada Revenue Agency did. Because if you don't understand someone, you're going to get mad and hang up the phone. And so you should, because in Canada, we've got two official languages, French and English. French and English. And if you don't feel like living in a French province like Quebec or New Brunswick, you leave. You go somewhere else and speak English. We, as kids, we used to get the strap in school if we were not using grammar properly or weren't learning the language properly. So here we all are in Canada, or I'm not in Canada anymore, but all of you are in Canada, learning the language and sitting through grammar school and all of these things that you would need to learn to know the language. And now you have an onslaught of foreigners, dumb foreigners, I might add, very low intelligence quotient foreigners who hate you, hate the country, hate where they are, but somehow they're in charge of your destiny. And do you know why they're in charge of your destiny? Because you let them be in charge of your destiny. So I have been excessively vulgar and crass with some of these individuals. The Canada Revenue Agency has gotten used to the idea now that I will bluntly tell people who are not born in Canada that you have absolutely no right whatsoever to speak to a Canadian-born person in any way at all. And I always issue complaints against the ones that don't speak English and are clearly not born in Canada. And I tell them, I want to speak to a white male over 40 years of age. And they always give me a white male over 40 to speak to. And you've got the right to make these demands as well. So over the course of 2025, everybody, I will be educating all of you on how to fight back. But it doesn't change the fact that you still have accountants out there who actually believe that you should pay tax. So I'll ask you this question here. Why would you go and hire an accountant who's supposedly a professional and have them say, oh, thank you for your $10,000. Oh, by the way, you owe 30 to the government. If you're coming to me to get your taxes done, you're owing zero. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care how big your salary is. I know the law, and you're paying $0.00. That's what you're paying me for, is to be able to walk away from the CRA and keep what's there. I had a conversation which broke my heart. This gentleman is out in the city of Regina. He gave me permission to tell his story minus the company name. This guy does repair work on cars and trucks. He's actually got government contracts. This guy is repairing government trucks in the province of Saskatchewan. The man makes $2.25 million every single year, and he's losing money every single year. So we figured out why is because his tax bill on the corporation just for payroll is $400,000. Yeah. Not to mention the property tax he's got to pay for his shop. And then there's the corporate income tax and the goods and services tax and everything else that he's doing. Holy crap. The guy is paying over $1 million a year in tax. And this is why he cannot make money in his company. So what are we doing for this individual? Well, we are going to be changing the entire corporate structure, that he is no longer going to be doing his own payroll. We have another corporation that will do the payroll for him and eliminate the need for the extra expense. Now, you all don't know this in Canada. I'm sure you don't, but your employer, you need to look at everything in hundreds of percent. So let's say you're taking, I work for Sam's Burgers, and I make enough money so that you're going to take $1,000 a week off my check. So here's $1,000 a week. You have to take my $1,000 from me and give it to the government. But as the employer, you have to take $1,000 of your own money and also give it to the government. So whenever in Canada, a business is remitting taxes to the government, it's 200% of the tax bill of the individual person. I bet you didn't know that. And it's 100% they have to match on Canada Pension Plan deductions and 130% of it on employment insurance. Is that insane or what? So we have to look at percentages here. In a lot of cases, what we can do is have a company not pay 200%, but only pay 130% by moving money into a corporation that's designed specifically and only for payroll. This is what I set up now for corporations who have massive payroll debts. So if you want to make sure that you're saving 70% of the payroll money that you've got to remit legally, you get a hold of me. This is what I do. I have been studying tax law for 40 years, not looking for loopholes, but actually looking for laws to take against the Canada Revenue Agency so that not only can I get wealthy doing it, and I like being wealthy, by the way, but all of you can get wealthy as well, because this guy who pays over $1 million of tax starting 2025 is never going to pay tax again on his corporation. He's going to keep an extra $1 million a year for the rest of his life. And you can do all of this legally in Canada by knowing the law, which I assure you, accountants in Canada don't know. And I assure you also, Canada Revenue Agency staff don't know. They're too stupid to know. 30,000 diversity, equity, whatever employees who don't speak English from third world junk countries are working inside the Canada Revenue Agency, which is bigger than the entire Canadian military, including the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and our special forces. The CRA has 60,000 people working for them, collecting money from Canadians, and the Canadian military combined is only 55,000. Is that crazy or what, everybody? And they're doing all of this to steal money from Canadians. And if you come to me, they take nothing from you. So, Chad, you've asked this twice. Good for you. How do you get your boss to stop taking taxes off your paycheck? Beautiful question. You go to your boss and you tell him that you are now officially going to be on contract. We open up a numbered corporation for you, and then you're going to walk in your boss's office and you're going to write an invoice for the week that you've just worked. That's what you do. You tell them, I'm done with the taxation system. I want to do it myself. I can write off my car, my fuel, my computer, my food, my coffee, my new boots, my underwear, my socks, my glasses. I can write everything. You can write. So we need to get all of you to comprehend that you're never going to get back all the money that you pay in tax until the following year if I'm doing your taxes for you. It's better just to not pay them in the first place. So all of you got to start going on contract. Now, I know some of you say, but the CRA says it's illegal. You can't go on contract if you're working full-time for someone and you can't make your own hours. That is a lie. That might be a Canada Revenue Agency policy. But if you don't work for the Canada Revenue Agency, their policies do not pertain to you. Policy of a corporation is not the law of the land. So don't kill people. That's a law. Work on contract if you want, because there's no law saying that you can't. And the only time that the CRA knows that you're on contract with your employer is if you're stupid and you tell them. A lot of people get audited, and you all mistakenly believe that you have to cooperate with auditors in Canada. You hire me, and within 15 minutes, the auditor is gone for the rest of your life. They do not come back. I tell them, thank you for your time, but we are going to forego the audit. We refuse to cooperate. There's nothing in law that says that we do. And if you tell me what you're looking for, I'll do the audit for you. And they never tell me what they're looking for. So we just ignore it after we tell them that we're not doing the audit. And I just do my clients' taxes for them. But I also will issue a very serious command to everybody at the Canada Revenue Agency. We send in no trespassing notices. And of course, I sign them with my name on them. And our clients will take these no trespass notices. We fax them in and we mail them in to every address and every fax number within the CRA so that they all get it and they all know that they are not allowed to go to the client's business or home or church or gym or arena or anywhere my clients go. And if they do, 911. I think this CRA guy's here to kill me, call 911. You are allowed to be afraid of people, so you call 911. We'll also print out nice, big, 2-foot wide by 3-foot high signs banning the CRA from the property. And if the CRA even knock on the door, call 911. I got some crazy guy here trying to break into my place. Cops will come, maybe not arrest them, but you get a police report number down, and now you've got this person's face, because you're going to record everything that the CRA does, all right? You're going to record everything. You film it all. You send me the footage, and I'll broadcast the footage out forever. We all need to fight back. Canadians are broke because that stands with the current tax structure in Canada. We are paying almost 73% of everything that we make on all of the taxes out there. Income tax, provincial income tax, Canada Pension Plan, you got EI. Then when you're leaving work, you've got the goods and services tax, which could be as high as 15% in some places in Canada on everything you buy, including haircuts, movie tickets, cars, whatever it might be. You got road tax, you got entertainment tax, you got liquor tax, you got tax on tax. And if you live in Quebec, they put tax on top of the federal tax there. So Canadians have nothing left. And what I've done is I've actually rescued 11 corporations in the province of Ontario this year alone, just by taking away their income tax. They're not paying it anymore. That is how we all have to do it. Don't pay tax. Okay, Rob, good question. What if the company I work for doesn't want to pay you on contract? Well, Rob, what you can do at that point is we can write up an affidavit stating that you have issued to your boss that you no longer work set hours and that everything is not to be on a T4. So we can actually cancel the T4 in the following tax year. So the T4 goes away. They'll still deduct taxes during the year, but I'll get them back for you in April of the following year when we do it that way. Yeah, but it's time for all of us not to go and beg. Everybody screws up by saying, hey, boss, I want to go on contract. Can you go? It's no, boss, I'm going to save you $20,000 this year. You got to sell it. You got to sell it. Sell. So what you got to do, all of you, here's your homework assignment. There are free income tax calculators all over the internet. So you work out what the boss would pay you contractually at your current salary. So if it's $52,000 a year, that's $1,000 a week he's paying you. You'd be charging the goods and services tax on top of that. Work out what that's going to cost over the course of the year, and then show your boss what it's costing him to match your income tax, your Canada Pension Plan, and your EI deductions. And you'll find that in most cases, you would be saving your boss between $15,000 and $30,000 a year by you being on contract. And then if I'm your tax guy, guess what happens? You're not paying a penny of tax on any of that. So you got to sell it. So you do the math. Boss, I worked it out. I am going to save you $17,814.12 this year. Can I have 5 minutes of your time? Or better yet, I need you to give me 5 minutes of your time. Each and every one of you out there has to be a salesman for yourself in every endeavor in life. And also understand that you have got to change the way you think about a few things. I get why we all want jobs. And I've been in this boat before where I've had jobs working for people. It's because we think that we can improve our lives by working a 40-hour work week and saving a bit of money and so on. Well, it doesn't work that way. So when you do have a job, when you're on a salary, essentially all you're doing is you're giving up all of your dreams and you're trading your time away from your kids and your wife and your husband and whomever for a bit of money that the government's going to take, like I said, up to 73% of. Not worth it. But if you're going to do the same job on contract, now you've got entrepreneurial spirit and now you're keeping every penny of what you make. So a lot of you out there realizing on a $52,000 per year salary, your tax bill is probably about $18,000 to $19,000. It's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Why would you want to give it away to anyone for that matter? Think about that. All right. What do I charge for your tax guide? Chad, if it's simple personal tax, it's $350 Canadian per year. If it's complex personal tax, up to $1,000, but you always get a quote before I start and the price does not go up. Let me tell you a bit about my personality quirk here. If you put a bill in front of me and I have no clue what the bill is, I'm going to hand it right back to you, and I'm going to have some choice words for you. They won't be vulgar, they won't be crass, and I won't raise my voice, but I'm going to tell you, get that thing out of my face. I do not pay bills that I did not agree to pay prior to you handing the bill to me. I had a couple of friends who have done this nonsense before. You know, we all get together for a meal and they hand me the bill for their food too. And I'll ask them, did you hear me say that dinner's on me tonight? Because if I don't say I'm buying, I ain't buying. I am very clear with my money. I'm very clear what I'm going to spend it on. And I negotiate everything in advance of me doing anything with anyone. And I know people don't want to talk about money until it's too late. Everybody's embarrassed to talk about money. I'm not. I'll say, hey guys, let's hit the pool hall. I'm buying the pool. You're buying the wings. Because I've probably already called the pool hall to find out what the price is per hour for pool. I'm thinking if we play 2 hours, I got to cover $21. The wing special's $15. I'm covering the pool. John here is going to cover the wings. I'll negotiate that in advance. If I have a really good day, though, where I sign up a big client and we get paid, I'm going to call a couple of my really good friends and say, gentlemen, we're going to go and have dinner. I'm buying the big platter, which is $40, and dinner's on me. I'll get 3 pitchers of beer. I will tell people in advance what I'm doing. So there is never going to be a mistake. And I've had many of suppliers of mine where they'll add a couple of extra charges here and there. We agree that the price is going to be, let's say, $1,500, but the bill somehow is $1,800 plus tax. And they'll say, oh, there was a fuel charge and there was this charge. Yeah, well, you know, we're going to scratch those off of there and I'll pay the $1,500. So because I hate surprise bills so much, I also hate giving you a surprise bill. Whatever we negotiate at the beginning of it, that is the price you pay. It does not go up. And if I screw up and it costs me more money in legal fees or shipping fees or whatever it might be, I'm going to eat that because that's on me for not having planned better. I have no problem accommodating people on the mistakes that I make. You're not paying for my mistakes. So I hope, Chad, that clears that up. For corporate tax for the rest of 2024, it's $1,650 per year. If it's simple, it's $2,500 if it's complex. And when I say complex, it means like there's dividends everywhere. Like 40 people got dividends, and I've got to figure out how to kill the dividend tabs and whatnot. You know, then it's higher. If it's just standard corporations, you know, 5 staff or less, it's going to be at the lower end, but you'll still get a price in advance, and that will not change. Period. All right. So Chad says, I'm going to need help with my taxes because I'm going to go on contract. Chad, I'm your guy. And Chad, if you don't have a numbered corporation right now, I'll get you one and I'll train you for an hour, because you get yourself an hour consultation. And for that hour, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about how to collect money from your employer and never remit a single solitary penny to the government for the rest of your life. And it's legal. It's all legal. That's the best part of what I do. I've been studying tax law for 40 years, criminal law for 20, civil law for 20. I can tell you everything I do is legal. And ladies and gentlemen, if I get an idea in my head, I'm thinking, yo, this is great. Who's the first person I call? My lawyer. That's it, my lawyer. And I'll just bark it out. Dude, for real. Here's the idea. Will it work? And if the lawyer comes back and says that there's even going to be a 1% chance of arrest, I don't do it. It's got to be clear or it doesn't get done. Because there's no reason in any particular way to do anything illegal with taxes. We don't need to. There's so many laws that protect us. It's absolutely unreal. Okay, beautiful. I just hit in here. I don't pay tax if I get paid on contract. Daddy, get yourself a 1-hour consultation on my website. Could everybody please put my website address up, kevinjjohnston.me. That's kevinjjohnston.me. And head on over there, Daddy, and sign up, and I'll train you on how to never pay tax on contract again for the rest of your life legally. Oh, and by the way, it's not sovereign citizen crap. Okay. That stuff is crap. That stuff's going to get you in a lot of trouble. I don't do free man on the land crap. I'm not doing any of that. We can play in their arena and win because there's more rules and laws to protect we the people from the Canada Revenue Agency than there are rules and no laws that the CRA can use to hurt us. Thank you, Johnny Boy. Appreciate that. Okay, so just checking all your questions here. Let me just check the Rumble room. And again, for those who do not know who I am, my name is Kevin J. Johnston. I was a journalist for almost 20 years in Canada. I have been infiltrating various political parties and figuring out what's going on. I've been telling the truth about Canada for a very long time. I am highly popular with conservatives in Canada. There's probably the better part of 5 million Canadians know my name because I'm very unpopular with the government of Canada and the left-wing nuts who cannot wait to insult me on the front page of every newspaper in the country, which in 2021 I made. I made the front page of everything right across the country because I was running for mayor of Calgary and I promised to put an end to all the COVID restrictions because, well, nobody could prove to me that there was a pandemic. Not one person could prove it. And the government didn't like that very much. And that is okay because I don't like them very much. I'm okay with mutual disdain and contempt. But because everybody, I have hated the Canada Revenue Agency since I was 13 years of age, you get to hire my hate to help you because hate is a more powerful motivator than love will ever be. Trust me when I say this. I've been to war zones as a journalist. I've seen the damage that hate can do. And all the damage that I do is against the CRA, not you. I help all of you damage them because they absolutely deserve it. All right, everybody. So how not to pay income tax again. There are new programs that I'm bringing forward for 2025. There are ways, and I can't discuss how it's done, but I can discuss that it can be done. You can completely, without free man on the land stuff, remove yourself from the taxation system. What we do, and it's not easy, it's extremely time consuming, but it's totally worth it, is that we can turn you, the person, into a private trust of your own. So as a private trust, you are not technically even allowed to pay tax. And we have enough case law within Canada that we stop the CRA from taking your tax money because you exist in what's called the private realm. You are a private individual. You're a private human being. You are a trust fund unto yourself, and you will never pay tax again as long as you stay within the private realm. This is what we are setting up for all of our clients come 2025. All right, everyone. So keep in mind that we will be doing that for you. Now, another thing that everyone was asking is how do we protect our houses and our cars and our money and so on. All right. Here, I've got junk all over my desk I haven't cleaned up today. So let's do this. This Bose speaker is up here. Now, we're going to come back to the Bose speaker. This little recharge station, it's black. Everything's black here. This pack of Mentos down here, this Mento, I'll do it backwards because they didn't pay me for this. They're not going to show their logo. All right. This little pack here would be a numbered corporation. We open up a numbered corporation down here. And this numbered corporation, we transfer the title of your house into this corporation here. You are not going to be the director. You are going to be 100% shareholder of your house. Why? Because we can write bylaws on the corporation that dictate that you and your spouse are 50-50 shareholders in it. And if one of you die, the shares revert to the other person and there's no probate and there's no taxes on the transfer of the house because the house has already been transferred into the numbered corporation here. All you're doing is just transferring shares, not property. Then this other pack here, we open this one up. If you've got a couple of cars in the family that actually have value, not junk from 40 years ago, but real cars. You put all your cars into the corporation and you register the plates to the corporation. Now, we do have a problem in the province of Ontario. They've got this new system coming in for 2025, where even if it's a corporate license plate, they still want someone's name and driver's license attached to it. So if you're going to be doing this in Ontario in Canada, go to Quebec or go to Manitoba and register your vehicle there. Don't register your vehicle in Ontario and put your friggin' name on that, because the cops in Canada are as corrupt as hell. And if somebody issues a complaint that your license plate did some driving the wrong way, the cops are going to come by doing an investigation and ask you, were you driving your car at 4 p.m. on this road doing this thing? If it's a corporate vehicle, all you got to do is say, look, it's a corporate vehicle. There's 10 people that drive it. I don't know. I can't really help you. But my lawyer's name and number is, and have a great night. Call my lawyer. There we are. So your vehicles in a corporation, your house in a corporation, your money in another numbered corporation. You see, in the bylaws with these corporations down here, your corporate bylaws that I'm going to write will dictate these are holding companies. They do not do business. They will not make sales. Ergo, they do not need GST numbers or PST numbers or HST numbers in Canada. So your third numbered corporation, all your money, your gold, your silver, and your crypto go there. If you care about putting crypto in a corporation. I mean, I would tell all of you to be quiet about crypto, but in case you want to, you've got 3 corporations: house, cars, money. And the bylaws on those things are going to determine what happens in the case of your death. Because, all of us are going to meet the Grim Reaper one day, except me. I want to live forever. Kind of. Now, let's find something that's not black. Here. All right. My glasses case. So we've got 3 numbered corporations here. We have up here, this is going to be another numbered corporation, but it's going to be your umbrella corporation. Also a holding company. The corporate bylaws dictate this does not do business either, and it exists for the sole purposes of owning these 3. All right? Now you've got double layer protection. And then, remember the Bose speaker earlier? The Bose speaker is going to be your family trust, and the family trust owns this corporation, which owns these corporations. All right, so this is what we're doing for people. So on top of opening up family trusts for 2025 for Canadians, we're also going to put you personally into your own trusts. And all of a sudden, you don't pay tax and you're protected from everybody, including creditors. Doesn't matter who sues you. It's not like they're going to get your house. They're not going to know that you're the shareholder of a numbered corporation that holds the house that you happen to live in. So all of you out there need to understand that the Canadian government and the Democrat Party, until Trump takes office, is at war with all of you, which means you have to go into the numbered corporation strategy with the family trust strategy, owning absolutely every corporation that you have. So then it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you lip off all the time and get sued for it. Who cares? They can't take anything you have. It doesn't matter if you screw up your taxes so badly that the CRA says you owe $1 million. They can't take anything out of your family trust. They can threaten you and whatnot. If you have a bank account in your name specifically, they will definitely go after it. But once we get all of these corporate trusts open for you, then everything will be out of a corporation anyway. You can have a bank account in your name just for kicks if you want to, but you don't need it because you can do everything through these numbered corporations, which is precisely what I recommend for all of you. Nuremberg says they took every penny from my account once. Yes, they did, but it wasn't the CRA. It was the bank that gave it to them. And the way to get your money back, if they did that to you within the last 10 years, is we can redo your taxes for the last 10 years, bring your tax bill to 0 under a private trust. All your money comes back, including what they took. And you can still sue the bank. Now, I want to talk about employers here for a second, because if your employer is garnishing your wages on behalf of the CRA, they're breaking the law. And I'm going to explain a few things on this. First off, when I have a company, and currently I've got 4 staff, and I can tell you right now, without them, there is no company. This is how it works. I can't do everything. Eventually, my corporation that does taxes will probably have a team of 100 people. And those 100 people will be making me money. I'll make sure that their paychecks are on time. I'll make sure that if they have major medical issues, that we get them dealt with. If they have family issues, we get them covered, and so on. Because staff who are well trained by the owner, me in this case, are an asset. They're absolutely an asset. And don't think for a second that I'm going to let anybody out there mess with my assets. You're not stealing my car, and you're not going to be beating up on my staff. So if the CRA was to come to me saying, we want you to garnish the wages of one of your staff, I'm going to say no. And I'll tell them, sue me. Let's duke this out in the courts, because I'm going to protect my staff. But your employers don't do that, everybody. You know what they say? I don't want to get audited. I don't want to go to jail. That's what Canadians are morons. They're so stupid sometimes. But that's what they say. So your employer will just give in and garnish your wages. You can sue the crap out of your employer for that. And we're going to be doing that for a client of mine coming very, very soon. They're not going to be happy about it, but too bad. Because here's what happened. An accountant did my client's taxes wrong. And the CRA said that he owed $30,000, which he didn't. But they sent a letter to his employer, and the employer didn't even speak to my client about it. They just garnished his wages and started giving away half the guy's paycheck to the CRA. I sent a letter in because I was then retained, and I told them that we are redoing the taxes now, and we have invoked Clause 7 of the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights. We have objected, which means these dollar values are in dispute, and you'd better start giving my client back his full paycheck. Should you not, we will take legal action. I don't use the word may. I said will take legal action. So we then redid his taxes. We went back 7 years. Guess what? He doesn't owe money. Guess what? The Canada Revenue Agency owes him money. They got everything wrong. Guess what? He's getting a check back of over $40,000. Guess what else? The employer, after I showed them the taxes are done, he's getting money back, discontinue immediately the garnishment. No, we can't do that until the CRA says that we can do it. No problem. So Monday, we are going to be sending in what's called a structured settlement letter. We're going to tell them flat out, we're suing you for $2.5 million for breach of trust and breach of contract. That's right. Breach of trust. That's a big one. And then we'll tell them, but we'll settle out of court for $50,000, which will cover all the pain and suffering and all the money you took and all the interest that was lost and all the aggravation. And we will sign a non-disclosure agreement saying that we will not talk about it, we will not name your institution, and we won't embarrass you publicly. Now, in the United States of America, a company would look at that and say, geez, they want to sue us for over $2 million and they only want $50K and they'll sign an NDA? Pay them. That's how Americans see it. Canadians, well, he threatened to sue me, so let's just have him sue me. That's how Canadians do things. Okay, no problem. But the NDA is now off the table completely. Now we go public, and now we're going to garner as much support from my client as we possibly can. And I might even ask my client, hey, should I get onto my show and have my entire client base write really bad reviews about your boss? I mean, I'm okay. It's childish. Yes, it's very childish, but that's the power of media. The Canadians are really stupid that way. They really do not understand that when someone says, I'm suing you for $2.5 million, but you can buy yourself out of it for $50K because you made a mistake. Canadians don't understand that they made the mistake, and they don't understand they're going to lose in court. They just get their backs. Fine, sue me then. Like, this is not grade 6 hopscotch. This is not kindergarten sandbox fights. This is real money because these are real people's lives. And when you are an employer, especially in Canada, and you're garnishing your wages, you are interfering with your capacity to have your staff trust you. Your staff members should be organizing walkouts because you're cooperating with the CRA and you don't legally have to do so. Let me tell you what the letter says. When the CRA sends out a letter, it's called a requirement to pay letter. It'll say, you are to garnish the wages of John Smith. And if you don't, we may audit you. May, which means they won't. But they say may. And Canadians are such cowards. Oh, I don't want to get audited, because they believe that you actually have to cooperate with an audit. So they just steal money from you, the employee. Well, this particular employer is going to be in a boatload of trouble. And when this particular employer figures out who I am, and I will send the employer every single article that's ever been written about me by the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the Toronto Star, the Toronto Sun, the Vancouver Star, the Calgary Herald, the Montreal Gazette, every newspaper that has slandered me and called me racist and homophobic, Islamophobic, and everything else. I'm going to say, this is who you're now fighting against in the courts. Do you want this much negative press fighting you for my client? Or would you rather just give my client the dough that we're asking for and get me out of your hair forever? But they're stupid. You watch. You watch. They're not going to give in. So we'll take them to court and we'll spend a great deal of time using them as a case study, as an example of why you should not do what the Canada Revenue Agency says. Because when the CRA sends out a requirement to pay letter, it is not a lawful command. It is not a court order. And you do not have to do anything in Canada that is not a court order. And if there is a court order presented against you, you can file a motion, an emergency motion that day to have it stayed, which means paused, so that you can understand it and get legal representation and argue it properly. You can do all that. One of my friends had a really interesting solution to a problem like this. I shouldn't tell you about it, but it involved fists and it worked. So that's all I'm going to say. You know, all of you out there need to protect what you have. Use the courts first. Use the police second. If you need to do something crazy, always do that last. But you got to understand that when the CRA is taking your money and you can't feed your kids and your boss is cooperating, that's two enemies at war with you. You got to go to war back. You absolutely got to go to war back. Okay, it looks like we have our first troll of the night. So we're just going to have to ask you to go bye-bye. There we go. All right, everyone. We don't want trolls here, everybody. Come on, give us a break. We're talking about taxes and how you can save money. How it is you can live a better life in Canada and the United States. We don't need trolls. There we go. All right. Daddy's asking, what's it going to cost to set up the trust? Well, I can tell you right now, in Canada, any province at all, except we don't do Quebec because Quebec is crazy. The cost to get a numbered corporation opened up with the bylaws written for you is $1,250, which after tax is $1,412. That's it. That includes me writing the bylaws for you. Now, Daddy, that price is going to go up in 2025. Not by much, maybe $100, but our prices have to go up just a little bit in 2025. We are exhausted. We have taken on a lot of cases this year. No regrets. I do not ever complain about working hard. No, Daddy, wouldn't that be nice? No. Each corporation is going to be that price. But if you're setting up 5 corps, you're not going to pay the full retail price on each one. That becomes an actual package deal. So if you want to do 5 corps, you let me know. We'll get you one hell of a price on that and all the training that you need. For sure. Let's get all that done. All right, a couple more quick things here before I go. We've got about 5 minutes left in tonight's show, and this is the last Thursday night show for 2024. I'll be most likely doing some really cool live TikToks over the Christmas break. I would like you to see the malls and just how many Christmas decorations that there are here in lovely Panama City, the capital of Panama. My God, they love Christmas here. It is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. User 96 for pricing. We're going to have pricing on my new website, which will be Kevin J. Johnston, my name, kevinjjohnston.com. There'll be a whole price list of all the services that we have, all the money services, all of the tax services and trust services. It'll all be listed there. And if anybody out there wants to get involved with us, if anybody is looking to make some damn good money working with me, I'll train you in how to sell what I do for a living and take 50% commissions on the profit margin of every single job. You can make some real bucks in taxes. And if I had known that taxes were this profitable to do, especially when you do massive volume of files, I would have started doing taxes when I was 12. My God, it is a remarkable industry. All right. All right. Thank you, Classic Garage. Merry Christmas to yourself as well. Last thing here, everybody. If you have corporate debt in Canada or the United States, whether it be CRA debt, IRS debt, payroll tax debt, GST debt, state tax debt, county debt, regional debt, municipal debt, fines, credit card debt, all corporate debt, I can buy it from you. I can take all of your debt away in a complete share sale. All right. It's a really good deal where you get to walk away from every debt that you have that's corporate. And you can do it now. It used to take a month to do. Now it takes 3 days to do. That's how quickly you can walk away from any amount. It could be 100 grand. It could be 100 million. It doesn't matter what the debt load is. So long as you are honest with me and you add all the corporate debts in there, I can take each and every one of them. Aria, what's the catch? Well, there's no catch. This is not a Ponzi scheme. There's no catch. It's just that whatever your debt load is, you're going to be paying my corporation 10% of the value of your debt load to take everything away from you. There you go. That's it. So whatever your debt is, you pay exactly 10%. That covers the lawyers, that covers the courts, it covers the disbursement fees, the couriers, it covers the CPA, it covers my time, it covers my team, it covers everything. You get to walk away from all of your corporate debt if you guys get a hold of me. Bruins 71, what's your fee to teach? You're in Panama till May. I live in Casco Viejo, so why don't you get a hold of me on my personal website? I got a couple really cool restaurants I like to go to on a regular basis. We can sit down and chat. I would love to meet you down here. My personal website, again, is kevinjjohnston.com or ME, whichever you prefer. There we go. Senna, last thing I'll say here. Never go corporately bankrupt because there's zero chance of a full discharge. It's going to cost you over 200 grand in most cases to go corporately bankrupt. The lawyers get rich, you get broke. It's a pointless endeavor. The only way to completely annihilate any and all of the debts that you have corporately is you have to sell the entire corporation, which I am only too happy to purchase from you. So get a hold of me on my personal website, everybody. That is going to be the best way to reach me and to start your new life completely and totally tax-free. I want to say thank you to everybody for watching every episode of this show. This is the Real Estate and Money Show with Kevin J. Johnston. It's been running now for just slightly over a year, and we've had a really good time doing all of this and meeting all of you. This will be the last one for 2024. We're going to be back in January. Don't worry about that. And God, man, this has been so much fun. I appreciate the emails. I appreciate the letters. I appreciate everything that you send me. It really is a blast to get all the kudos and thank yous from each and every one of you. I want to say Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. And we will see you in January. Have yourselves a great Christmas vacation. Good night.